Did you know that 61% of drug use went up among 8th graders between 2016 and 2020? Did you know that 62% of teenagers in 12th grade have abused at least one kind of drug in their lifetime? Did you know that 50% of teenagers have misused a drug at least one time in their life?
I think the use of drugs around the kids can either become a positive, have a positive effect or a negative effect on them. Because some kids can see the drugs and be like, "I'll never do that," or see situations and feel like they'll never do it. But it's some kids that see it around and it's like, maybe I can do it because the people around me are doing it.
Affect them. I mean, if they a kid see what their parent doing, they gonna eventually
Want to
go to
branch out
that
and
too.
do
They
it?
gonna want to branch out and do it. Stress. People be stressed out. People go through stuff. People have problems. So it's like an escape. Get away. They escape, I guess.
Their environment, seeing it around, or just stress, not knowing how to deal with stress or everyday things, having to go through different things in life, and them picking up on what's around them. And
Okay.
even if it's not around them, I mean, at some point it's gonna be around you because even college kids going to parties, people doing different drugs, drinking different things, and you may think it's one thing and it can be something completely different. And some people get hooked on it unwillingly.
Did you know that within Detroit, an annual average of 630,000 people aged 12 or older have used an illicit drug within the past year, which means this represents 16.6% of the MSA population, which is similar to the rate for the state of Michigan, which is 16.1%. However, ranging higher than the national rate of 14.7%.
I feel like it's easier access just off the point of having drug dealers in your neighborhood and going outside and seeing it being right in your face when you're
Mm-hmm.
from certain areas. So I feel like that's one of the main reasons that it's so.
It's too accessible. I grew up in the 80s. What they say about the 80 babies?
Yeah, it hit, for I'm born in 1980, so it hit different for a person from my era because we actually had the crack.
Absolutely. I grew up where drugs were heavy. I am from Wisconsin. So, Wisconsin
Doesn't mean it's all
don't
good.
mean it's all peaches and plums and cheese,
Okay. And then how do you think that affected you as a kid and growing up?
Well, as a kid, I didn't really let it affect me.
Okay.
Because I knew, like, my mind was strong enough. So I knew, like,
My kids ain't around now.
Okay,
My
so why
kids
did you
got a
move?
whole different environment. I had to change that scene for my kids. Like that's something I went through. So my whole goal was to get my kids out of that environment. I didn't want my kids to grow up and see none of the stuff that I seen. I had to go through it all that. You know what I mean? I had a beautiful childhood, but it was like some hectic scenes.
10.37% of Michigan residents report using illicit drugs within the past month, with the national average being 8.82%. Additionally, 3.77% of Michigan residents reported using an illicit drug other than marijuana within the past month.